All right, y'all. So we're about to get into the tea because it is hot. But before we do that, we got to talk about this group trip to Vietnam, March 14th through the 20th of 2026. I want you to be there. If you have seen our trips to Bali, to Thailand, to Zanzibar, and our upcoming one to Cape Town, you don't want to miss this one to Vietnam. People ask me, why did I choose Vietnam? I mean, look at it. We got good pricing in terms of the currency conversion, so the dollar takes you further. We got beautiful landscapes, and we got great Vietnamese food and shopping. Plus, 3 cities, so we're going to be running around this country looking all types of crazy and all types of lit. And we got a 2 day luxury cruise, y'all. A 2 day luxury cruise. So I need you to go ahead and make your reservation today. Go ahead and make your deposit today. You can put it on a payment plan. Click the link in the description. Now we can really get into this tea. I mean, what we celebrating today, y'all? What are we celebrating today? What we celebrating? I mean, what what we celebrating? What we celebrating? Happy Thursday, y'all. Happy Thursday. We are back in the chat. We took the day off yesterday, but y'all know what? We is back in business. We back in business. Hey, boo. Hey. How y'all doing? How y'all doing today? Listen, yes, go ahead and hit that like button if you, I mean, even if you this your first time here, go ahead and smack the like button. I mean, that's what we do. This is how we get down. We celebrating. It's almost the end of the work week. Hey. So I know a lot of y'all are happy just like I am. Okay. So, y'all, why why might Stacy be celebrating like this? I mean, why not? Why would she not be celebrating when Andy Cohen calls her the best Housewives casting edition of the past year? Stacy on Potomac, baby. Stacy is getting it and she is working. What didn't he say? I know how to work it and be seen. Y'all remember that tagline? I know how to work it and be seen. That is Stacy Rush right now. Y'all, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Andy Cohen sat down with the girl from Call Her Daddy. I don't know what this lady's name actually is or really how she rose to fame other than interviewing people and sitting on the couch and and being a blonde girl. But there she is. She's interviewing the peoples, all right? Interviewing the peoples. And of course, Andy had to roll through. Now, there was a lot that he had to talk about on this show. One of the things that he had talked about, and I don't even know if I can't find the post where there was a clip of it because I do like to do a little bit of show and tell. He did talk about the people that he felt like he needed to that talked over people the most at the reunions. And do y'all know some of the top people that he said talked the most over top of other people? One is Lisa Barlow, one is Toya Bush Harris, and third, well, not these weren't all three, but he said Dr. Simone as well. So the doctor, the medicine wives and people and stuff like that, they they making an impression on Andy too, and not always in the best way, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, you know, but back to Stacy. Yeah, man, she is evidently the cat's meow right now. And you know what? I'm not really mad at it because Stacy has proven that she can take a licking and keep on taking. She does not get bogged down or bothered as much by the ladies coming for her. She just kind of lets it all roll off of her like rain on whatever it is people wear when they wear in the rain. Like rain on an umbrella. Ella, so I mean, I'm not mad at it. And I just think that Stacey's funny to me. Like, she is hilarious with her clapbacks. I feel like her reads are classy. And she, for whatever reasons, like, I feel like she just frustrates the girls. And I think she frustrates them because she doesn't overreact ever. Like they could tell her that her breath is funky, and she's like, okay, well, hand me a mint with my goddess breath. She turns the lemons that they throw at her into lemonade, and it doesn't even seem to really affect her. And I think that's really how people should be in general, right? Especially if you are, if any, let me tell you something. If you're ever thinking about getting on YouTube or creating content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, or whatever your social media platform, the Twitchers, whatever your platform is, you have got to learn to be like Stacy. Let the people's insults roll off you, okay? Like whatever. Like you just gotta like be able to say, you know what? You're not taking me. Yes, water running off a duck's back. Thank you, Althea. Thank you so much. That's what she does. That's what you got to do. You got to be able to let the insults fly off of you like water off a duck's back. Because guess what? People will have their opinions about you and things that you say. I had somebody the other day. Let me tell y'all this. I had somebody the other day. It was the weirdest thing to me. They was like, y'all always coming for Candy when we did the story about Riley and how these people on Next Gen NYC be working her nerves. Meanwhile, y'all, I had did a whole commercial for Candy and Todd's movie, Don't Bring Your Man to Atlanta. The next story was literally about Candy and Soldier Boy turning their lemons into lemonade. But the person was so fired up and incensed because we talked about the Next Gen story that they went off. Then they went to Instagram to tag me on the Instagram. Then they just went off in the comments talking about how we always talking and coming at Candy. And I'm like, where? People hear what they want to hear, but you got to be just like Stacy and let that stuff run off you like what you say out there, water off a duck's back. Okay. Now I started to block the person, but then I said, no, you watching. So thank you for your view and thank you for your engagement. We appreciate you over here. Okay. Even if you don't like us, right? Keep watching, enjoy, have fun, comment, leave 12 comments if you like. Increase the engagement. Just make sure you keep coming back. All right. Meanwhile, one of the other things that the person had said was, you and y'all don't never talk about Dr. Heavenly and her son. Y'all don't ever talk about Dr. Heavenly and her son. Well, Dr. Heavenly is speaking about her son right here.
I didn't find that on Twitter. Y'all want to know my business. I'm going to be straight up.
Look, we know what we want to say.
So listen here. We did talk about the son. And I think the fact that here's the thing, when people don't watch the channel every day, they will have an assumption about what it is that you do and don't do. And they'll say, well, you didn't talk about this and you didn't talk about that, your favoritisms. And it's like, you know what? I mean, yeah, keep commenting actually, but it's always a weird thing because, the situation with Dr. Heavenly's son was very odd because the news came out about it. And then Dr. Heavenly came out and said something about it that she didn't know about it until Dr. Daddy told her about it. And then it was a non-issue. And the whole thing seemed very strange to me. So I'm like, I don't really get this whole story. So hopefully all of it will be laid out by the cast members, because it sounds like Dr. Heavenly says this is going to be one of her toughest seasons on the show, where she's going to have to go into the details of what actually did happen so we can get a better understanding of what went down. Like, what did something happen between, the son and the officer? It was just a weird story to me. It was weird. I didn't get it. I didn't understand her explanation of it. Hopefully I'll understand better about it when it's actually time for her to discuss it on the show. What I think is going to happen is, I don't know this to be for certain, but my general sense is that Toya is going to be the person to have her foot on Dr. Heavenly's neck about this thing right here with this son. Now, we talked about it the other day when we talked about Robin, and we talked about how if the story had never came out, I'm quite sure Robin would have never said anything about that whole situation, for which she could have never said anything about it, even though they was talking about it. But like with the Dr. Heavenly situation, the thing that we have an expectation with Dr. Heavenly, and I'm going to tell you why. The expectation with Dr. Heavenly to talk about it is because Dr. Heavenly talks about everything else when it comes to her show, maybe not every aspect of her life, because what we know is she ain't gonna never turn on Dr. Daddy. But and I listen, I get it. I admire that, because at the end of the day, you leave that show, that your relationship is the thing that has to remain constant in your life. So why would you throw your husband under the bus? I get it. I totally get it. And as we know that is her mental stance on most things regarding her husband, we can probably also readily assume that also extends to her children, right? But the flip side of this is that because Dr. Heavenly spills so much of her castmates' tea on her YouTube channel, it seemed as though people were missing the fact that she did not say anything about this on her own YouTube channel. Not to the degree when it first came out, y'all. When it first came out, that people were satisfied with the explanation. That's what I'm saying. So for me, hopefully, when the show airs, she's able to fully dive into it on the platform that pays her to dive into these aspects of what is her real life, because then this could actually become something that we get something from. And I will tell you this, even in this little clip right here that she posted on her own page, y'all. She posted this on her own page. She says that she had been skating by on the show. Okay. She says she had been skating by and she was not allowed the opportunity to skate by in this season. So I like the fact that she posted it herself on her own page and she talking about it finally, right? This is a good interview with her and Quad. You know, we get into a little bit of the Quad and what's going on with her and, you know, and King. Now, what I would also readily assume is that while Dr. Heavenly may have been downgraded to a friend, I don't believe that this is just me. I don't believe that pay thing changed that much. If at all. I feel like we still gonna see a lot of her throughout the season. That's just my assumption. All right. I feel like the friend of title is mostly just, I want to say, we'll call it semantics, right? Because of because she's running for office, and that being a bit of a conflict with the network and the contractual obligations, it probably was something that stated, you can't be a main cast member while you in this process. That's what I think. That's what I think. So hopefully, for my own understanding, we will get more clarity on the situation, what really happened, the timeline that she really truly experienced, discovering that, you know, this is what happened with her son, the police, the reports, Dr. Daddy telling her, not telling her, or whatever the case may be. Right? So yeah, we talk about it, but if I don't understand the situation fully, even from her own explanation, what more can I do? You know what I'm saying? So the jury's still out. But what I will tell you that she also talked about in this is they asked about Phaedra, you know, and Phaedra being on the show. And she does say that she felt like Phaedra served her purpose. She felt like Phaedra met her match and got to skipping and hightailing and on up out of there. Okay. She felt like Phaedra wasn't used to dealing with the type of women that they are on their show. And she thought she was going to be able to do what she did on Housewives with them, and it wouldn't fly. And therefore, she had to get to running. I guess my thought on that is two things can be true at the same time, right? The first thing could be that, yeah, y'all did kind of seem real mean to her. I mean, mean to the degree that I felt like first season, they kind of let her skate by with like not really doing a lot. But second season, I felt like the ladies had an expectation that you're going to give a lot more this season. And if you don't give, we're going to get it from you. And because it felt a little bit like a pile on, and then there was the whole sweet tea of it all, I think we just all looked at that situation and felt like y'all do feel like mean girls, right? Y'all do feel like mean girls. But then when Phaedra went to Housewives, the tide definitely changed against her because people was really thinking like, girl, what you got to do with Junebug and Angela and the husband and all that? You know, what is happening here, right? So it's very interesting to watch the nuances of the way people are perceived in a certain season on a particular show, because I always try to look at these characters, and I know I'm speaking philosophically right now, but I always try to look at these particular characters on these shows, and I try to take it season by season. So my expectation with this particular season is that hopefully we will see a little less Mean Girls antics in the sense of like piling on to one person, and more of drama that happens between multiple people and people being real about the drama that they are experiencing and that they're actually having with one another versus something that feels a lot more contrived and like you guys weren't really friends anyway. It's much more interesting to watch a group of people who have relationships that where they are invested in each other and then they have a mix up or a problem than it is with somebody that you just threw in there and they have a problem, i.e. Phaedra. They have a problem with her and nobody really cared as much about that relationship. So there was nothing to really fight for. So now there's nothing for me as the audience person to root for. Okay. Shundo. All right. We just flowing through. Y'all. I also wanted to talk about this. Since we doing commentary, Andy, while he was on the call her daddy or call her something, call her papa or whatever the case may be, he talked about his potential future reunion replacements, right? And I'm taking this shout out to Mr. Housewives, also shout out to Queens of Bravo for our first call out from that interview. And you know, I just thought that this was so interesting because you know, he does name Jeff Lewis and Jerry O'Connell as potential replacements, even though he doesn't really want to think about the idea of retiring or anything like that. And I just looked at this, I looked at those two names and I kind of cringed in my head just a little bit. Um I I I'm a little torn on his list. Um, in one sense, I feel that for me, I don't think that Jeff Lewis, my opinion, my opinion, my opinion is that Jeff Lewis doesn't really pay that much attention to the Housewives shows with casts that have mostly color. So he, for me, would kind of be a little bit of a no, you know, in my mind. I, I think if I had to pick one or the other, I might pick Jerry, but I just don't think that I think that Jerry is much more of a fan of the shows than he is someone who could get to the root of the issues, right? And I feel like Jerry, his comedy is more borderline slapstick than anything else. And so I don't know that he would be the best fit for either one of those. Okay. So I looked at what Mr. Housewives had put as his picks, right? And he picked Nina Parker, Carlos King, Chrissy Teigen. But his other choices were Nina Parker, Bethany Frankel, Justin Sylvester, Carlos King. And then he put himself, as you should, Nicki Minaj, and then Chrissy Teigen. So I thought to myself, would it not be fun to come up with a list of people that I felt like would be good hosts for each particular franchise? Now, I welcome you guys to, in the chat, put down who your picks would be for each person, for each city. That's how I divided mine. Okay? That's how I divided my list. And I'm not too clear on if I really like my whole list. I don't know if I like my whole list, but I do like some of these. All right? I do like some of these. And unfortunately, I know you guys are gonna come at me, boo. But I came up with this list based on who I thought could do what with each cast, right? And so this isn't a final list, right? But I do think that this would be a good list. Okay. So listen here, but also tell me what you guys think about the list for each city, because I did it differently. I divided it up so that there is no one person who has the keys to every kingdom, right? Because here's the thing, if you take Andy out of the equation, does the whole thing fall apart? We don't know. We don't know. All right. I'm going to tell you who I think. And I chose people who have either hosted on like a major platform before, right? A reunion show, or they have some experience on national television with hosting in general. Okay. So here we go. Listen. For Salt Lake City, I chose Kelly Ripa. Let me tell you why. Salt Lake City is a little nutty. And because it is so nutty, I chose Kelly Ripa because she too is very nutty to me, right? And I feel like I don't want to make Salt Lake serious. I want to I want to keep it the same zany, zesty fun that it always has been. And I think that we never really get any resolution on Salt Lake City reunions. And I don't expect any with Kelly either. I mostly am watching because I think she would add to the mayhem. Okay. So that is why I chose Kelly Ripa. All right. I did not include myself or any of my fellow amazing YouTube content creators. Maybe I should do a second list, and I could tell you who I think would do a good job in each city. I tried to choose people that, like I said, have been on national TV with hosting reunions or talk shows or radio shows in general. So work with me. Ooh. Ooh. Somebody just added a name that I love. Mm. Okay. I like Keke Palmer. Okay, so she gets I'm gonna have to add her to this one city. Okay. She's an alternate for one city. I'm going to say, I will say Jeff Lewis for Real Housewives of Orange County. The reason why I say him is because I know that he has ties to these ladies, and I think he would be able to hold them accountable because that show needs someone to rein them all in. I don't think that he watches the black shows or the shows with people of color, but I do think that he would be able to lay a smackdown on some people that need a smackdown laid on them in Orange County. And so I'll leave that at that. So he can definitely do Orange County. That's it. Okay. And maybe Salt Lake if Kelly was having a surgery or something like that. Right. Okay. For Beverly Hills, I made a very odd choice. For Beverly Hills, I chose Kate Chastain. Here is why. I chose Kate Chastain because I think that the Beverly Hills ladies need a firm, like, they need a firm hand. They need somebody that is non-biased, that is not in love with Kyle, that is not afraid to ask tough questions and will not be afraid of any of those ladies, no matter how rich they are. I feel like Kate will get down to the nitty-gritty. Kate will ask the questions the audience wants to know, and she will spare no one. Okay. I do agree with you, Ultraviolet. I feel like Andy babies Kyle. And so I think that Kate would be a great alternative so that Kyle cannot be babied in the way that she has been babied in the past. No disrespect to Kyle, but to me, I feel like this cast needs a firm lady in the building to step on some stilettos and keep her stiletto on their necks. Okay? Now, okay, check, check, and check. For the Real Housewives of Potomac, Tammy Roman. Hear me out. This would be absolute TV gold. Okay? TV gold. When I tell you Tammy Roman, okay, Tammy is already like, she is no holds barred, right? Can you imagine Tammy Roman moderating Karen, Giselle, Stacy, Ashley? And I think if need be, Tammy would get some girls together. Tammy would get the girls together. I could see Tammy hosting this reunion for years. She would be loved by fans, I think. She does have some ways about her. I see something in the comments, but I do think that she would be the perfect person to listen. We want somebody that can keep their foot on everybody's neck in Potomac. And I think that she would do it. But I think that Tammy also knows how to give us comedy that I also think that Potomac knows how to give too. So similar to the way that Nicki Minaj came in at that point in time, I think that Tammy Roman would have the same type of effect. Personally. Okay. So we got Potomac. I had also put Tammy in Jersey. But I don't know about that because I don't even know if they're coming back. The reason I put her in Jersey is because those ladies are rough and tough too, and they need a firm hand. They need somebody that, I mean, because listen, if somebody tries to get about it, because you know them girl, like I just feel like, why do I feel like when I'm watching Jersey that I feel like when I'm watching Jersey, I feel anxiety because I do think that somebody's about to brawl at any point in time. And I feel like Tammy's good for a brawl. And so she would be able to really rein those girls in too. And she would give us some good comedy. in the reunion. Can you imagine the faces that Tammy would be given at some of the girls and their reactions? I think that she would be a perfect fit for that. Okay. Next. I have 2 people listed for Atlanta. Okay. Number 1, I have Carlos. The reason I chose Carlos is because he used to be a producer on that show. When he was a producer on that show, I think that he made those girls work. And I don't think that they will be able to slide and get by and be I don't think anybody will be able to get away with much on there because he's familiar with the format. But as an alternative to Carlos, I did choose Kiki Palmer because I think that you guys had something when you said it earlier about how Kiki would make for a great host. I also think that based on what we saw this past season, the Real Housewives of Atlanta is missing a zany factor, right? Like we have Angela and she's kind of zany, right? But I think that you need and maybe Kiki could bring that out of them. She's a singer, so Drew and God, Lord knows everybody, half the people on that show have tried to sing at some point. And I feel like Kiki would get into the questions and really almost make them feel like they're talking to a good girlfriend. And I think that she would be able to get things out of them that they don't know that they're giving. And I think that because Atlanta, to me, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, sometimes feels like smoke and mirrors. I think that Kiki would be able to ask some good questions to really get into what it is that is really happening. Okay. I saved Nina Parker for Miami. And the reason I did was I think that they need someone who is very neutral, but also somebody who understands the nuances of the culture of Miami. If I'm correct, has Nina Parker officiated the Love and Hip Hop Miami reunion? Let me know if I'm correct on that. And if so, and I just think that she would be able to really hold some of those women accountable, especially for with some of the microaggressions. But I think she's also sensitive enough to be able to pull and relate to the women on very different levels. And I also think that to me, she would be able to see beyond the facade of whatever my opinion, this is my opinion. I feel like Marisol has control of that show. And I think that she would be able to come in and see through all of that. So I think that again, I have a good mix of people. I tried to come up with people that were of different cultural backgrounds, right? To come up with, to make it equitable across the board. I tried to match the franchise with the person that was in my mind necessary to bring out the best in the cast, but also to bring out the best reactions to the cast. Oh my God. Oh Lord. I just saw ooh, y'all is rough in the comments, man. So yeah, I tried to come up with something that would be equitable across the cast, across the board. So, it's not just, this type of person or that type of person. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I tried to also utilize my own knowledge of what people have done in the past to make sure that we're getting people that are good. Oh, all right. So now that we got that, let's talk about anything, B. Let's talk about you. and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about it because Tamar's about to talk about it, y'all. Tamar is about to talk about it. All right. Let me say this. I saw this comment. I think it's very interesting too. I think that they probably would be looking for one person. My advice would never be to rely on the one person because you take one person out of the equation and then the whole thing falls apart. Um, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want business wise. I would rotate people out because I think that when you do that, now the network isn't just reliant on this one face. Andy is like the face of Bravo. I would quickly change that. This is no disrespect to Andy, but as a business, you don't ever want your business to be reliant on one person's face. That's just me. But I think you're right. I think they probably do want one person. Tamar. Why is Tamar upset? You know, why? All right, let's talk about it. So apparently, she said this, heard an interview, and I've been trying to keep it cute. But if you say one more lie to liar, I'm going to empty out my clip. And so, shout out to my boy who sent this over to me. We wondered what clip was it? Okay. What clip? What interviews did what interviews was done? While I look out the window, I thought it was snowing. I'm losing it. And we had to wonder, okay, who was doing interviews? What clip? Well, Tawanda was doing the Ricky Smiley show. And Tawanda had said some things. Was missed at the wedding. They said there was one person missed from that fabulous wedding. So tell me, honey, so what happened and where do you stand now with that missing person?
Well, may Tracy rest in peace because Tracy was not there. I missed her immensely, and parts of her was. All right, so let's get into what Tawanda had to say when Gary asked her about somebody being missing at the wedding, and she immediately went to Tracy. Yes, indeed. Tracy, God rest her soul, is all around us, right? When we think about somebody passing, we think about them in heaven, or we choose to think about them as being all around us. Okay, fine. You mentioned Tracy not being there. You know, he was talking about Tamar, and she basically acted like Tamar did not even exist. Okay? Not even. She knew exactly who he was talking about, right? And so Tamar is claiming that she's going to empty the clip. And I'm like, well, dang, what more can you give us? What more can you say that wasn't not already said? You already said the lady was allegedly stealing from your credit cards. I mean, what more could it have been? You already alleged that the woman was also had been sleeping with an ex of Tony's, but what more could you say? I mean, what else is there? I mean, geez, Louise, what more could we be doing? Good Lord. I see a couple of you guys mentioning Claudia Jordan in the chat. I didn't mention Claudia Jordan because she had actually been on the show. So that's the only reason why I kind of tried to leave off people that had been a cast member on the show, because I think that it would be a hard time for people who are on the show who may have been on the show with her to really open up in that way. However, I do think that she's a great host. Side note, if you guys get a chance, go check out Accidentally Informed with Claudia Jordan and Erica Cobb. I was able to guest on their show last night, and man, it was amazing. I had the best time. I literally felt like I was talking to two of my like two sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like family sisters. I was kind of nervous at first. I'm always nervous when I do something new. But honestly, the way they just kind of pulled me in, I felt super amazing. Lord, I'm losing my voice. Y'all, I talk too much for a living. But yeah, so I felt it was great. It was such a good episode. Such a good episode. I also see you guys mentioning Dustin. I love Dustin. Dustin is like, I could just listen to Dustin talk, right? He just has that type of voice. And I think that he would be a very smooth operator. I think I almost feel like some of the ladies would be like more enamored by him than they would be trying to give him answers, right? But he's also really, 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 really good. He is really, really good. And I think he's also doing like live shows now. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I had a good time with them. Yeah, they made me feel right at home. And if they ever asked me to come back, I certainly would. I had a blast. I had a blast. Okay, y'all. So that's the tea. Hopefully we'll see the resolution or what really happened with Tamar, Tawanda, and Tony and Trina this coming Friday. On the Braxtons, we know that in real life, in real time, Tony and Tamar are apparently at least back on good terms. So that's good news, I think. With Tamar supporting Birdman while Tony was, probably off on tour or having a spot date or creating new Lifetime movies. Tony is doing all of the things. So who knows where she was, right? Who knows? One never knows. But yeah, so listen, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Again, you guys know that the trip to Vietnam is coming up. I only have 7 more spots to Vietnam left. So if you were planning to go, now is the time to book because those 7 spots will go fast. All I can tell you is it'll be the time of your life. You will be with a lot of great people. And you know what's funny about the trip is I always feel like when we go on these trips, day one, people kind of come in and they're like, they feel like they may not know as many people or they came alone or something like that. By day 3, everybody has started to let their hair down and they are just like living. You know what I'm saying? They are just living. They are just happy and excited and a little bit exhausted. And they are bonding with each other. They are telling each other, like, this is what happened to me before I came. And people start sharing their experiences and you start to get really close to people. And it is just so fun. By the end of the trip, y'all, I kid you not, I have almost wanted to cry because I did not want to leave my people. I did not. That's how close we all end up getting on these trips. So if you've been thinking about it, go ahead and make your deposit. We have a firm that you can also utilize to help you pay on the trip over time. We also have payment plans. So it's a lot of ways to pay. The only thing that you need to do is make your deposit, or you can pay in full if you choose to. We've had some people do that as well. And then I'll put you in a WhatsApp group so you will be able to ask any questions that you need answers to. You'll have direct access to me and to my assistant as well. And we will help you in terms of if you guys have questions about flights, you can see when other people are flying in. We do everything with you. I mean, we're there every step of the way. So yes. It is so fun. It is super, super fun. So definitely think about coming, y'all. Vietnam, March the 14th through the 20th. Again, and I will be your fun master. I will be there with you every step of the way. So it's a good time. It's really a good time. With that being said, y'all, I will catch you in the next video.